Yeah, it's been, I think, a really a productive spring so far. Obviously, a ton of learning situations, some good, some bad. But I think overall, as we continue to just learn situational football, kind of our assignments, learn how to, run them as fast and as physical as possible. I think, we're going to be okay. I think, ultimately, what we're really trying to emphasize right now is just is physicality, building confidence in our guys, allowing them to go out there and play physical, play fast, play free. Overall, I love the energy from our guys. I love the tempo from our guys. I think there's a lot of good positive attitudes. They're wanting to learn. And so it's just really up to us as a coaching staff to continue to pour into them and make sure they're in the right spots. And, our guys are always going to be willing to get better off of that. Just as an overall cultural goal, we're worried about playing well, and early on in camp, obviously you're constantly, wanting to see guys improve every single day, regardless of the position, regardless of the year, regardless of the experience and where they're at in the depth chart. And so really the goals that we have, like I said, is we want to be a physical unit this year. We want to make sure that, we're not reactionary, that we're attacking. And ultimately, in order to do that, we've got to build confidence, and we've got to be great teachers and coaches for our guys so that they feel empowered and feel that confidence. So, I think I've seen that. We've seen that in the first week and a half or so. But, again, a lot to improve on, a lot to get better at. There's a great competition there with that crew, really trying to figure out who our interior is going to be. We got 9 guys that are really competing. I think Coach Cody's doing a really good job of creating a sense of competition, creating a culture of competition in there. Obviously, we feel really good about our 2 tackles, Eli and Ernesto. But really, we got some young guys there at center trying to figure out who that's going to be. Zaire's had a pretty good camp so far. And just, again, like I said, we're just really emphasizing. I think our guys have really taken on to being physical, embracing that culture, and we've got a great defensive line to go against every single day. So we feel like if we can get after them a little bit, hopefully we'll feel pretty good about going into the season. I think the tight ends and running backs, honestly, have probably been the most consistent positions throughout camp so far. I think, Coach Schiapetti, obviously, he's got a talented crew there. I think we're deep there, have the ability right now, I feel like, probably to go 4 that can play. They're playing so much more physical. Not that they weren't physical in the spring, but, they're playing really, really physical. And then just, I think it's, like I said, just like O-line. I think they feel that sense of competition, and they're constantly challenging each other, and not a lot of MAs, playing fast. That's a veteran group, though, so feels good to have, Winston Williams. He's back and healthy. Hopefully we get Ian back and healthy. Josh Gale, obviously a veteran tight end, has had a lot of success here. And then, I'll tell you, Mitchell Dixon's been really impressive as well, coming in there as a quarterback. And now you would never think he was a quarterback the way he's coming in there blocking. So proud of that group. I hate to sound like a broken record, a good talented group, pretty deep group. I feel like Mateo Perez is one of those guys that, he may be one of the top 4 or 5 guys in our offense. And, a lot of times he's an unsung hero because he is behind land. So Mateo, he is as steady as it gets. I think Jordan Fisher, obviously he played last year a little bit as a young guy. He's come in. He's consistent. He's steady. He's similar to Mateo in that sense. You don't really hear from him a lot, but he's just doing his job. And, we just got to continue to focus on ball security in that room, making sure that we don't put the football on the ground. I think running behind our O-line, playing physical, we're going to be okay there, but we just got to make sure we protect the rock. Yeah, I think, that one of the good things about Davis is even though it's a new offense, even though there are a few new coaches, there's still a lot of the same terminology that we used from 2018 when I was here with Coach Plow all the way through 19, 20, 21. And obviously the offense has changed. Some of the philosophies have changed. But we're, throughout that 6-year period, there are a lot of things that the terminology just never changed. So, I think we do a pretty good job of giving our guys the ability to learn early, and then be repetitive about it and make sure we change the things that we need to change early on so they have the ability to learn those things. So for the most part, it's not about learning our stuff. It's just making sure that those guys feel confident in what they've learned so that they go out and execute it at a high tempo. I made the decision to go back for no negative reasons whatsoever. Like Coach Hawkins was the only person to ever give me a chance when I came out here the first time in 2018. He let me be the special teams QC and worked for some great dudes, and Paul Creighton and Coach Hawk, obviously, and Coach Plow. I felt like, and I told the team this the other day, after I had my second kid, I thought, I can just try to take Davis back home in East Tennessee and try to recreate that, pour into a program that needs being poured into, be a head coach, try to be a good mentor. I felt like maybe I could spend a little bit more time with my kids, right, wrong, or indifferent. And so I was like, I'm going to take my wife back home and do that. And, was there for 2 years and trying to establish a good culture and doing things the right way, trying to do all the things that we did here at Davis, and obviously laying down the groundwork there. But when Coach Plow called, and he had always told me, even when I got out in 2021, he said, hey, listen, when I get a head coaching job wherever it is, I'm going to call you. And I was like, well, I'm going to probably have to tell you no, man. We bought our forever home in East Tennessee. And so he calls me, and it was a long process, week and a half, 2 weeks, just going back and forth trying to figure this thing out. And ultimately, a lot of people pouring into me, a lot of people giving me advice, but I think that much of Coach Plow. I think that much of his wife, Christine. I believe in everything that he believes in. He's honestly one of my best friends. And then the opportunity to coach, everybody says this, but you never really understand it until you get to Davis. The opportunity to coach these kids again, to coach with Coach Plow again, and this staff again, and then in this community, it's the best experience coaching I've ever had in my entire life, in my entire career, those first 4 years. And, luckily my wife is awesome, and she was like, well, let's do it. And so the transition was a tough one to come to the decision with, but, I've got a great support system. My family's great, and, ultimately just being back at Davis, we couldn't miss that opportunity.